And now we take you further on these developments. We speak to Ambassador Fernando Perea, Argentina's former foreign minister. Thank you so much for joining us today from Buenos Aires.
Thank you to you, Elaine.
First, I would like to get your reaction to what looks like the continuation of this investigation of President Fernández to Kirchner and the foreign minister. What do you make of it?
Well, I think that this is a very important step. I'm sure that the president and the foreign minister will cooperate with the investigation. This is something really very, very serious. This is international terror, and everybody has the obligation to combat international terror, mostly after the adoption by the United Nations of Resolution 1373 after the bombing in New York. So there is an international obligation to investigate thoroughly this case. And I imagine that the new judge appointed will have the support of the Argentine public opinion and the world public opinion as well.
I want to ask you about that in just a moment, but how much of an escalation is this latest move to pursue the case? You know, a judge will now have to decide whether there's enough information to move forward. So what does this all mean? How serious is this?
Well, I think that the special prosecutor Nisman did a very good job. He some way uncovered that there has been negotiations, secret negotiations between Argentine officials and Iran, mostly the Ahmadinejad regime, in a way removing Iran from the hook that proved that Iran had something to do with the bombing of the Argentine Jewish Association. And the other very important element that, as I said before, that this is international terror, and everybody has the obligation to go very deeply in investigating cases like that.
Ambassador, what do you recall of that time when this bombing happened in 1994? And now we're hearing about it all over again. What do you remember of that time?
Well, Argentina, 10 days after the bombing that killed 86 people, took the case to the UN Security Council requesting cooperation. And with this element and the evidence that Iran might have had something to do with that, we tried to discuss directly with Iran and to promote a legal investigation in Argentina. And the legal investigation in Argentina proved even further that Iran had some kind of involvement in the attack. And this is very important because Nisman took over the investigation and discovered through the ways that you probably know already that there had been secret negotiation between Argentina and Iran to remove the case from the legal trends and to put it in a sort of bilateral negotiation between Argentina and Iran, and to create some sort of bilateral body between Argentina and Iran through the Memorandum of Understanding signed 2 years ago. This memorandum was strongly criticized by all the political spectrum in Argentina and the public opinion in Argentina, as well as the public opinion in the United States and in Israel.
Ambassador, I'd like to bring in our correspondent, Jessica Stone, who's been following this story here from Washington. She'd like to ask you a question as well.
Very good. Thank you.
And Mr. Ambassador, give us a sense, you know, this seems from where we sit here in the United States to be a pretty long investigation, more than 20 years. Can you give us a sense of whether that's typical or whether this is an unprecedentedly long investigation in Argentina?
Well, let me tell you, this is terrorism. This is not a common criminal case. Since the beginning, there was evidence that Iran has had something to do with the attack, that the Hezbollah might have been the perpetrator. This was discovered early at the beginning. Argentina, in those days, had cooperation agreements to discuss these sort of issues with the United States, with Israel, with the UK, with France and with Italy. So the responsibility was, of course, was on Argentina, but also we requested the cooperation from other countries with the most most sophisticated elements to discover these sort of things. So I wouldn't say that this has been very long. The problem that was very difficult to get Iran into discussing this matter. And I have to tell you that the governments in Argentina since 1991 to 2003 were very keen on that, and they were in contact, I would say very frequently, with the American Congress, with the American Jewish Congress, and with many other entities interested in solving the case.
Ambassador, we
Yes.
have about 30 seconds left. Just very quickly, what about the general population there in Argentina? What's the mood there in Buenos Aires? Are they surprised by this new development in the case? Is there concern about what could happen, or is there indifference?
Well, no, they are very concerned. In fact, there will be a demonstration next Wednesday in Buenos Aires and in the capital of the provinces in support of the investigation. And I imagine that the new judge, Mr. Rafecas, who is a very credited judge, will have all the support of the Argentine public opinion.
All right. Ambassador Petraeus, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us from Buenos Aires.
Thank you very much.